Hello everyone, myself Santosh Bodke. Today we will start the third chapter Mechanical Properties and Elastic Constant from subject Strength of Material. This subject weightage it is 8 marks. Moving towards first slide. Types of loading. What is mean by load? Any force acting on a body can be considered as a load. Depending on the direction of load and position of load, there are three types of loading. First one, this is direct or axial load. Second, eccentric or non-axial load. And third one, shear or transverse load. Again, there are two types, tensile loading and compressive loading. In next slide, we will see this in detail. Direct or axial load. Here in this figure we can see this body. The load applied is along the axis of body. So this type of load is called as axial load. Here you can see this animation. Due to the axial load, the length of body will increase. In this figure, two opposite forces are collinear. So the acting at the axis of rod, so it is called as direct or axial load. Two forces pulling the rod outward, so this type of load is called as tensile loading, and stress is called as tensile stress. Next, compressive load. Here these two forces are collinear and along the axis, but the direction of this force are towards the body. So these two forces will compress the body. So this type of load is called as compressive loading, and in this case the generated stress is called as compressive stress. Next, eccentric loading or non-axial load. Here in this figure you can see that the force P is not acting at the axis of body. It is acted at the distance of E from the center. So this type of load is called as eccentric load. Shear or transverse load. Here you can see in this figure two loads are opposite in manner, but they are not collinear. They act at a distance. So when the forces act tangentially, they are under consideration of body, then such type of load is called as transverse or tangential shear load. In this slide, we will see some important mechanical properties of metal. What is meant by the mechanical property? Mechanical property are physical property that a material exhibit upon the application of forces, or it is a behavior of material under loading. First mechanical property is elasticity. It is a property of material to regain its original shape after deformation when external forces are removed. For example, if we stretch a rubber band after releasing load, it regains its original shape. This property is called as elasticity. Second property is plasticity. It is a property of material which retain its deformation produced under load permanently. Means after application of load, the deformation in this body is permanent. Examples are concrete, rocks, soil, or metals. Next property is brittleness. A material is brittle if, when subjected to stress, it breaks with little elastic deformation. breaks little with elastic deformation and goes significant plastic deformation. Here in this figure, here we can see that there is a no change in size, means there is a less elastic deformation. Here in this figure we can see that this is a stress strain diagram. Here this brittle material fell suddenly here, but in case of ductile material it absorbs more energy, and here we can have idea that material is going to fail. And in this figure we can see this is a ductile failure. Here the section of material is reduced, but in this brittle failure there is a no reduction of section. So brittle material fail suddenly. Next, ductility. It is a property of material enabling it to drawn into wire with the application of tensile force. Here in this animation we can see that after application of force, this wire stretch or length of this wire increases. This property is called as ductility. Due to the property of ductility, we can form long wires from metals. Next mechanical property is malleability. It is a special case of ductility which permit material to be rolled or hammered into thin sheet. Due to this property, we can form very thin sheet from material without failure or without fracture. So, what is the difference between ductility and malleability? The ductility of material is the ability to undergo tensile stress. Ability to undergo tensile stress without failure or damage. Whereas the malleability means it is the ability of material to undergo compressive stress without fracture or without damage. Next property is fatigue. Metal fatigue is a phenomena where structure fail when subjected to cyclic load. This type of structural damage occur even when the experienced stress range is far below the static material strength. Here in this graph, the material is subjected to maximum load, minimum, like this manner. And the static strength of material is far above this point. But due to the material is subjected to this cyclic loading for prolonged time, the material fails. This type of failure is called as fatigue failure. Next mechanical property is creep, also called as cold flow. Creep is a tendency of solid material to move slowly or deform permanently under the influence of constant mechanical load. It can occur as a result of long-term exposure to high level of stress that are still below the yield strength of material. When a part is subjected to a constant load at a high temperature for a long period of time, it will undergo slow and permanent deformation. Creep is more severe in material that are subjected to heat for a long period of time. Generally, creep increases as they are near to melting point of that material. In this slide, this is a boiler tube. As the temperature in boiler tube is more, and also it is subjected to fluctuating load as pressure inside this tube fluctuate. This material we can see here, this type of failure is called as creep. Next property is toughness. Toughness is the ability of material to absorb energy and plastically deform without fracturing. Also, other definition, Material toughness is the amount of energy per unit volume that material can absorb before rupturing. Or also we can see that also we can say that it is a defined as material resistance to fracture when stretched. This is the stress strain diagram. Here this is a stress strain diagram of ceramics. Here ceramics have very little elastic deformation and also plastic deformation. The area below this curve indicate the energy absorbed by the ceramics. It is very less compared to these metals. Here we can see that this metal stretch in this elastic limit, and after that it deform. This is a plastic deformation, and this amount, the area below this curve, this is the energy absorbed by this metal, means it has very high toughness compared to this ceramics. This ceramic has very low toughness. The example of toughness in day-to-day life, we use toughened glass for the protection of our mobile phone screen. So in case of accidental drop of mobile, toughened glass absorb that energy and our phone screen will safe. Next property is hardness. Metal hardness, it is a property of material which enable it to resist plastic deformation, usually by penetration or indentation. Here in this figure, here are three samples, sample A, sample B and sample C. A diamond indentator is used. The same amount of force is applied on indenter. Here we can see the impression is very low compared to sample C. So in sample C there is a more plastic deformation compared to sample A. So we can see that C has lower hardness compared to sample A. Also you might have listened Gorilla Glass protection, which has more hardness and toughness, due to which in accidental fall of mobile, majority of time our screen don't get cracked. Due to high hardness, it is difficult to mark scratch on screen. So this is the application of hardness. Next concept is strength. Strength is the ability of material to withstand an applied load without failure or plastic deformation. If material can bear more load, then it has more strength. Next, factor of safety. Factor of safety express how much stronger a system is that it need to be for an intended load. It is a ratio of yield stress to working stress. You can understand factor of safety by simple example. Consider one small passenger car, say Alto. It is designed for maximum 5 peoples, but in some cases 2 or more passenger load also car can easily bear without any damage. So this is due to the factor of safety. Or other example, suppose we want to design a bar for carrying load of 100 Newton per mm square, or stress of 100 Newton per mm square. But for this application, we have used a bar with yield strength 350 Newton per mm square. Means maximum load is 100 Newton per mm square. But we have used a material having yield strength 350 Newton per mm square. So factor of safety is yield stress divided by working stress, 350 divided by 100, so here factor of safety is 3.5. So meaning of this is the material can handle 3.5 times the intended load. One dimensional stress system. Here you can see this one square bar and 100 Newton tensile force is applied along one direction. In one dimensional stress system, the stresses and strain along only one direction is taken into consideration. Now we will see Hooke's law, the relationship between stress and strain for unidirectional stress, that is for normal stress in one direction only, is given by Hooke's law, and Hooke's law states the ratio of normal stress to the corresponding strain is constant within elastic limit. This diagram shows stress strain diagram, and the area or the portion here to here, this area or this portion is called as elastic limit. In this region, the material behavior like elastic material. So in this portion, if we take ratio of this rise to run, then this ratio will be constant, and this ratio is called as Young's modulus. So on this x-axis is strain, and on y-axis stress, that is sigma. So normal stress to corresponding strain is constant, or in other hand, capital E is equal to sigma divided by small e, where capital E is equal to, or capital E is Young's modulus, sigma is the stress, and E is strain. So ratio of stress to strain is equal to capital E, that is Young's modulus. In this slide, you can see the behavior of material under load. Suppose we have applied the force along only x direction. If we apply tensile force, then the length along the x axis will increase, and if we applied compressive load along x direction, then the length along x direction will decrease, and other two dimension also, it depend upon tensile or compressive load. If length along x direction increases, then the other two dimension will decrease, and vice versa. Next slide, two-dimensional stress system. Suppose we have one bar, we have this square bar and having length 40 mm, breadth 10 mm and height 10 mm. If we applied tensile load along axis, due to the effect of tensile load, suppose its length increases to 70 from 40, and its breadth and height changes, breadth 10 to 6 and height 10 to 6. Then we will understand these two concepts, longitudinal strain and lateral strain. First one, longitudinal or linear strain. The ratio of axial deformation to the original length of body is known as longitudinal or linear strain. In this previous slide, this is a applied force, and along the length of applied force, this is a length. Before application of force, the length of body is 40 mm, and after application of force, it become 70 mm. So there is a change in length. 70 minus 40 is equal to 30 mm, and original length was 40 mm. Here linear strain or longitudinal strain is equal to change in length, change in axial length divided by original length. So here change in axial length 70 minus 40 and original length was 40. So here E is equal to, E means linear strain is denoted by small e, del L divided by L. Del L means change in axial length divided by original length. So linear strain is equal to 70 minus 30. 70 minus 30 means change in length divided by original length. So here in this case linear strain is equal to 40 divided by 40 is equal to 1. So here this A does not have any unit as it is a ratio of same quantity, therefore it does not have any unit. Next, lateral strain. The ratio of change in lateral length to the original lateral length of body is known as lateral strain. So in this previous figure, the direction of applied force and along the direction of applied force, this is a linear dimension, these two. L is a linear dimension, and B and H, these two are lateral dimensions. So lateral strain is equal to change in lateral dimension to the original dimension. So here before application of force the lateral dimension or breadth is 10, and after application of force it becomes 6. So there is a change in breadth is 4 mm. So here change in lateral length to the original length is equal to EL. Lateral strain is denoted by EL is equal to del H divided by H is equal to del B divided by D. Means change in height divided by original height or change in breadth divided by original breadth. If we consider this previous problem or previous example, lateral strain is equal to 10 minus 6. This original length was 10 and after application of force it becomes 6. So change in length 10 minus 6 is 4 divided by original breadth was 10. So 4 divided by 10 is equal to 0.4. This is a lateral strain, and as it is a ratio of same quantity, it does not have any unit.